Fatemeh Karoubi, the wife of Mehdi Karoubi, publicized a letter directing at public describing her husband's physical condition. She indicated that yesterday, after a difficult 9-day treatment period and 2 operations, Mr. Karoubi was discharged from the hospital and was transferred to a secure building of the Ministry of Information. Mohammad Reza Pourshajari, an imprisoned blogger, started a hunger strike in protest against the unacceptable behavior of the authorities. Mr. Pourshajari is currently being held in Hall 7 of the Central Penitentiary Prison of Karaj. Last week, the Amnesty International, one of the world's largest human rights organizations, announced that since the start of 2014, 40 people have been executed by hanging in Iran.
According to reports, after waiting for more than 10 years, the permission to publish a book called Refugee Women has been declined. The author, Mahnaz Hedayati, is living in England and has spent 5 years writing this novel with the aim of publishing it in Iran.
On Wednesday the 15th of January 2014, Mahdia Farahani, a women's rights activist, had her court carried out in Branch 15 of the Revolutionary Court. During the hearing, the judge of Branch 15 of the Revolutionary Court mistreated Mrs. Farahani and her lawyer, and resorted to shouting and insulting. Mahdia Farahani is a women's rights activist whom during the past year had her materials based on women's rights on various websites such as Fair Family Law. A number of employed and unemployed workers of the bridge crossing project in Urumia Lake, under the supervision of the marine industry Iran Sadra, on Thursday the 16th of January 2014, attended the ILNA office in Urumia to protest against being unclear about the future career situations and demanded their unpaid wages. Furthermore, in the previous week, the nurses of the city of Mahshahr in the Khuzestan province protested against the lack of rights and wages for the past 2 years, which coincided with the visitation of the Minister of Health. They gathered in this hospital and conveyed their objections to the minister. Approximately 400 workers of the factory of polyacryl in Isfahan once again protested against the downsizing policy of the company and staged a protest on Monday the 20th of January 2014. Furthermore, workers of the sodium sulfate processing company have not received their wages for 6 months. In addition to the 6 months delay in the payment of salaries, 35 workers of this company have been made redundant over the past 2 years. More than 400 workers of the company called Iran Tire have stopped the production within the factory and gathered in front of the factory gate in protest against the dismissal of 80 of their colleagues.
Despite the physical deterioration of Shahram Ahmadi and Arash Ramin Sharifi, these 2 ideological prisoners are still deprived of medical treatment. On Thursday the 16th of January 2014, 50 days after the arrest of Manoucher Kholusi, a Baha'i citizen from Mashhad, Mr. Kholusi was given permission to meet his wife, father and mother. This meeting lasted about 30 minutes with the supervision of security officers. It is not clear why Mr. Kholusi was prevented from visiting with his 2 sons. This week, the appeals court in Iran condemned a Baha'i citizen called Shamin Ettehadi to 3 years imprisonment, 2 years ban from travelling, and a fine of 40 million riyals. On the 17th of March 2013, Shamin Etahadi showed a 4-minute video of the destruction of a Baha'i ceremony in Yazd to a satellite network channel called Mano2. On Sunday the 19th of January 2014, by following the commemoration of a poet named Mullah Fazl Sekarani from Ahvaz city, at least 45 Arab citizens from Ahvaz city were arrested. Following the Coast Guard police opening fire on 4 young Balochi citizens, 3 were wounded and one of them, named Khaled Garikij, died. Touloue Golkar, a Baha'i resident of Tehran, was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for charges of communicating with the Virtual University of Baha'i. It has been reported that the authorities in Tabriz city prevented the washing and burying of a number of Baha'i bodies in accordance with the Baha'i religion. After the destruction of Baha'i cemeteries in August 2012, the Baha'i citizens of Tabriz were not allowed to wash the body of Baha'i people who passed away. In recent months, a wave of new pressures and restrictions on captive dervishes has started. In this pressure, Kasra Nouri, a dervish prisoner who has served nearly 2 years in Adal Abad prison in Shiraz city, was transferred to Nizam prison without any explanation by the security forces. His family have not been able to visit him in nearly 3 weeks.
According to the reports, on Thursday morning the 16th of January 2014, a prisoner accused of carrying and maintaining drugs, named Hassan Sanij, was executed in the central prison of Tabas. 5 people convicted of drug trafficking and possession of drugs were hanged in Shahrud on the 16th of January 2014. Furthermore, Salman Nassim, a political prisoner held in the central prison of Urumiyeh, accused of being a member of PKK, was sentenced with the death penalty by the Supreme Court. Mohammad Hossein Rigi, a 23-year-old who has been arrested for 7 months and was held in Section 4 of Zahedan Central Prison on Saturday the 18th of January 2014, was sentenced to death by Judge Mahgoli in the Branch 1 of the Revolutionary Court. Ali Khairju, who was arrested for taking part in the protests that took place against the drying out of Urumiyeh Lake, received his sentence of 6 months imprisonment by the Appeal Court of Ardabil. Hossein, whom last year was accused of murder for picking up a butcher knife and attacking pedestrians, which led to the death of 1 victim, was charged again and sentenced to death. On Monday the 20th of January 2014, a 27-year-old youngster called Sajjad Pur Najaf, accused of murder in the central prison of Tabriz, and Changiz Shahnavazi, another prisoner accused of murder in the central prison of Zahedan, were both executed by hanging.
The visitation rights of 2 exiled political prisoners in the central prison have been taken away by prison authorities. Mohammed Amin Abdullahi and Fakhreddin Faragiare have been banned from visitation rights, reading newspapers and books, and making phone calls. A lack of attention to the state of health of prisoners has continued, and the health conditions of Afif Niami and Amanullah Mostagim is reported to be serious. During Saturday the 18th of January, prison authorities attempted to replace the lock of the prison library and banned political prisoners from using the library. The prosecutor has rejected Behnam Irani's medical leave, and 3 weeks ago he ordered that Irani should be sent for treatment to a protected hospital at his personal cost. According to reports, on Wednesday the 22nd of January, Hamed Ahmadi, Kamal Molai, Jamshid Deghani, and Jahangir Deghani from Unit 3 of Ghazal Hesar prison in Karaj were transferred to an unknown location.